This is going to be one of the most comprehensive beginner guides, the only one you'll ever need to get into the world of American Express. You've probably heard about all their benefits like life-changing vacations and getting money back on all everyday spend like gas and going to the grocery store, and to even help you buy a house in the future. And while you've probably already heard about the poster childs being like the platinum and the gold, these cards that have really high annual fees, and you're probably thinking to yourself like, oh, these are just way too expensive. How am I supposed to even get started within the American Express world? These cards are way too expensive. You probably just said, forget it, I'm just not going to deal with the American Express ecosystem at this time. What if I told you there's plenty of credit cards that kind of go under the radar, they're a little bit slept on, but actually offer some great value and come for the low price of $0. And are basically actually really good for beginners who are just getting started in the American Express ecosystem. So today we're going to go over 9 different things that we're going to be... So today we're going to be going over the... Oh god. So today we're going to be talking about the 9 different things that you need to know before getting into the world of American Express. As well as at some point we're going to do an entire brief overview of almost every single American Express card on the market today to see which one fits your lifestyle the best and see which one you would actually want to start with. So with that said, let's dive right in. So starting off first, we just have to know what rules does American Express have when getting some of their credit cards. So American Express does have some rules that you need to know before actually getting started. One of them being the 2 and 90 rule, another one being the 1 and 5 rule, and the 5 and 10 card rule. So the 2 and 90 rule specifically states that you can only get approved for 2 American Express credit cards in a 90-day period, so twice every 3 months. So as per the rule, if you go to try to get approved for a third Amex credit card within 90 days, then you will subsequently get denied. The second rule being the Amex 1 and 5 rule, which essentially states that you can only be approved for an American Express card once every 5 days. So if you're going to apply for those 2 credit cards in that said 90-day period, just make sure that those 2 credit cards are at least 6 days apart when you actually go to apply for them. Also, there's something called the Amex 5 card rule. Pretty much limits you to having only 5 American Express credit cards and or business cards. And these are cards like the Blue Cash Everyday, Blue Business Plus, etc. For credit cards that actually have a preset spending limit, but for charge cards, as we'll talk about a little bit later in this video, ones that don't have a preset spending limit, these are actually limited to 10 cards at any given time. So yeah, Amex Platinums, the Golds, any of their charge cards, you can only have 10 of them open at any given time. Now, those are the main 4 rules that American Express touts and have enforced in the past, and just know that there are some people like Sledge that live in a world without rules and have been able to get more than 5 credit cards, and for some people that have been able to get approved for more cards at one time. Of course, these things change every single day, but these are just the main rules that generally applies to the average population. And I guess another rule to actually consider, which is not American Express's, but it is Chase's 524 rule. The Chase 524 rule essentially states that you can only have 5 open and active credit cards that you got approved for within a 24-month or 2-year period. So if in the last 2 years you got a Citi credit cards, a Capital Ones, American Expresses, and you go to actually try to apply for a Chase credit card, they will actually deny you since you're already at that 524 limit. So the 6th credit card will be denied if you're going for a Chase card. This rule does not actually exist for any credit card issuers. So a lot of people will actually advise to just start building up your Chase repertoire while you're actually at 024 and you're starting to build up your profile of credit before actually getting into the world of American Express. But I could also imagine like, hey, there's really not that many Chase cards to be desired. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, sure, get your Chase Freedom Unlimiteds, get your Chase Sapphire Preferreds, maybe a World of Hyatt credit card, and maybe even a business credit card. But I mean, speaking from experience, I never really worried about that. I got 1 Chase credit card and I got 8 different American Express credit cards, and I don't think I really missed out on much. But I would be remiss if I didn't at least let you know that that was the thing. Number 2 is credit score. So what is the prerequisite? How high of a credit score do you need to have to actually get approved for American Express credit cards? Now, on most websites, they're actually going to mention that you'll need a score of around 680 or higher to actually start getting approved for any American Express credit card. And I can actually speak from experience that I started getting approved for some of the highest tiered Amex credit cards, those charge cards, for around the 690 to 700 credit score threshold. Now, it is possible to get approved for Amex credit cards a little less than that, a little more than that. Of course, your mileage may vary, but that is pretty much the prerequisite, is just have a score around 700 roundabout, and then you'll be good to go. Now, one thing you could possibly do too, if you're really unsure if you'll get approved or not, is just to use American Express's pre-approval tool, which could actually be the Apply with Confidence tool. And I've seen people use this tool, and usually 99% of the time, if they are pre-approved through this tool, then they do actually get approved for that said card. So when in doubt, use that pre-approval tool, apply with confidence, so this way you know for sure I'm most likely to get approved for this credit card without actually hurting your credit score and just taking an unnecessary hard pull. Another thing to mention with credit card approvals is American Express is pretty unique in that when you actually apply for one of those credit cards and actually get approved for one, not always, but at least 90% of the time when you apply for the next American Express credit card, Amex already has that data and it's only going to be a soft pull, and it's not going to hurt as bad as if you were to just apply for any other card issuers one by one, which would all be sometimes a hard pull, a hard pull, a hard pull. With American Express, it seems that most of the time it's going to be a hard pull, soft pull, soft pull, soft pull. So good data points there, and it's personally that's happened for me. I've only got hard pull once, and that was it. Now I have 8 of them. And you know that saying, good things come to those who wait. And while I generally disagree with that statement itself, I would agree with it in this case for American Express credit cards. I think it's really good to wait until your credit score really is in that 700 range to start applying for American Express credit cards because, in my opinion, they're worth the wait. And number 3 is annual fees. Now, we talked about earlier, sometimes a lot of people are often intimidated when they get into the world of American Express. They see a $695 annual fee, a $250 annual fee, and heck, even the Amex trifecta is running you close to $1,000 in maintenance every single year just to keep the cards open. So if you're a person who is in credit card debt, somebody who is not able to manage all of your credit, and someone who knows that they're probably not going to be able to use all of the credits that are offset by getting those said credit cards, then don't just go ahead and buy yourself a hole in your pocket for $1,000 a year. I mean, you shouldn't do that. And also, a lot of people don't mention, but a good thing to know that if you are in the military right now, active military, and you're looking to get into the world of American Express, just know that as long as you are active military, American Express actually can pay your entire annual fees on those said credit cards. So you technically, that $1,000 on that Amex trifecta could actually be $0 every single year just because, well, you're serving the nation, and we salute you. And also, I hate you. I should have joined because I want some free cards too. Number 4 is just get familiar with sign-up bonuses. So you know sign-up bonuses, these welcome offers on said credit cards that say, hey, spend X amount, get X amount in points back, thus giving you both some value, and also them gaining your business. So one mistake I made when I actually got started was I went with the gold card and the platinum card first, and I was a little bit hasty, and I got some of the lowest sign-up bonuses that anyone's ever gotten on this entire platform. Like, for example, my Amex Gold card, I think I only got a sign-up bonus of around 45,000 points, and I think for my Amex Platinum card, I only got a bonus of 60,000 points after like 4 or 5K spend a few years ago. Whereas now you can see easily getting 100,000 points or even 150,000 points for that Platinum card and 90,000 for the Amex Gold card. So had I known better and watched my own video that I'm recording right now, I probably would have waited a little bit, waited till I got the highest sign-up bonus possible, and this way I would have made the most amount of money. And along with sign-up bonuses, just know that there actually is another rule with American Express, which is called the once per lifetime rule. And the reason I put it in quotations is it is a direct rule, but let's just say that there's data points out there that suggest that it doesn't actually exist. But if you're unaware, the once per lifetime rule essentially states that you can only get one welcome offer, one sign-up bonus on each card for the rest of your life. So that platinum card that I got for 60K, I will never get a different bonus than that at all, and as long as I live. But there are some data points out there that suggest that it's only lasts for about 7 years after canceling that card, and even some people mention that even if they didn't cancel that card and they waited 7 years, then canceled, and then got it, they were able to get a new sign-up bonus. So, of course, as always, your mileage may vary. So I guess just act as if it is once per lifetime, so just wait until you get the highest sign-up bonus possible, but also just know in the back of your mind that you probably can get around it at some point in your life anyway. And believe me, once I wait a few more years and my platinum has been owned for 7 years, I'm gonna try. so I guess subscribe so that I can show you that video in about 4 years. Jesus, I'll be 30. Number 5 is cards to avoid. That's right, this is something that I've never actually seen talked about, but there are cards out there that are technically tied to American Express, but will only really hurt you in the long term, and they're not exactly what they seem like on the surface, and I just want to protect you guys before those ads kind of hit you and you unfortunately apply for said credit cards. And actually, again, shout out to Sledge. He is so knowledgeable on this. I asked him a couple questions about this and he knew them immediately. So he's the reason I'm bringing this to the forefront. So we have 3 main cards that people that I've noticed over the years kind of got not necessarily scammed, but it wasn't exactly what they expected. Number one being the Credit One American Express credit card. Number two actually being the Navy Federal More Rewards Amex credit card. So for all three of these, yes, they are technically Amex credit cards, but Amex is not the one making the decision on whether or not you get approved for these said credit cards, which means you never actually build a relationship with American Express itself, which is kind of like the goal, right? You want to build up your relationship with them so they keep giving you more and more good cards. And they all pretty much have their downsides, right? Like Credit One credit card has an annual fee for virtually no benefits. The Navy Federal credit card, while actually being a really good card on its own, just know that the points you earn are not Amex points. They actually just stay with the Navy Federal Credit Union portal, but you also have to be in the military or just related to somebody in the military to actually join Navy Federal. Number 6 is, let's actually just go through the comprehensive list of almost all of the American Express credit cards, and I'll just say a one-sentence thing about them and just a couple perks and benefits to see which one of them might actually fit your lifestyle best, starting from the beginner cards to the most advanced cards. Number 1 is the Amex Cash Magnet credit card. This is the most baseline credit card you could possibly get with American Express. It requires a 680 credit score, which actually every card I'm about to talk about, again, is going to need a 680 or a higher credit score to get approved. So I'm just not going to tell you which credit score you need after this, okay? Has no annual fee. You have a sign-up bonus of $200 back after spending $2,000 within the first few months. Two notable things on this card is 0% APR, so you're not going to be accruing any extra interest on this credit card for the first 15 months for any purchases you make on it. And you're going to be getting 1.5% cash back on all purchases, which is pretty good. Overall, it's just a beginner credit card, a decent catch-all credit card, a good foothold into American Express, but for the same score needed, you could actually get this next credit card, which is actually a little bit more powerful. Number 2 is the Amex Everyday card. Now again, this credit card has no annual fee, and the sign-up bonus is not in cash back, but it's actually in 10K membership reward points, which is the name of the points that actually come with American Express. After spending $2,000, and the main multipliers here is 2 points per dollar spent on groceries on a cap of $6,000 per year. So you can only spend $6,000 on this card on groceries per year to get that 2x multiplier. $6,001 is going to be 1x back on all purchases above $6,000. But actually, the one superpower that this credit card has, as Chad would say, the superpower is,
and the reason being is because the everyday card has a bit of a little superpower.
If you use this credit card and swipe it 20 times in a given month, you're actually going to be getting a 20% boost on all the points earned in that given month. So 2x back on groceries is actually 2.4x back on groceries, which is a lot better. Which if you do spend $500 a month on groceries, that's essentially like getting $144 back at the end of each year. Number 3 is the Amex Everyday Preferred. It's essentially the older brother of the card we just mentioned, the Everyday card. Now with older brothers comes a little bit more power. It also comes with a little bit more responsibility, right? So this credit card has a $95 annual fee, but does boast some extra perks, namely an elevated sign-up bonus of 15,000 points after $2,000 of spend. Bonus back categories include 3 points per dollar spent on all US supermarkets, the same cap of 6K per year, but you're also going to be getting back 2 points per dollar spent on all gas station spend. And this card's superpower is if you spend and use this credit card 30 times in a given month, you're actually going to get a boost of 50% on all of your bonus back categories in that given month. So groceries being 3x is now 4.5x, and gas actually turns from 2x to 3x, which makes this a really powerful card, which I think is a fantastic beginner card. And speaking from experience, the ages of 16 to 21, all I spent my money on was groceries and gas. So this is a card, had I known about it at that time, I would have loved to have used. And honestly, I do think it's underrated, and that's why you're starting to see some people like Chad and Sleds talk about it a little bit more in the credit card community. Number 4 is the Amex Blue Cash Everyday. Now, this is a credit card that is a little bit more common, a little bit more talked about in the credit card community. It does sport a $0 annual fee. It does have a sign-up bonus of $200 back after 2K spend. But one of the main perks with this credit card is you're actually going to be getting $7 per month, so $84 in a given year, towards the Disney bundle. So, you know, the Disney bundle is Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, etc. So if you're a person that already subscribes to the Disney bundle, you probably should have this credit card for a $0 annual fee. You're already profiting $84 every single year without even having to use the card. Bonus back categories include 3% back on US supermarkets, 3% back on online retail. These are things like Amazon, Walmart, Chewy, and a few of these other places that I'll leave on the screen right now. And then 3% back in all US gas stations. And like I said, this is actually earning cash back, not points back. So if you're someone that actually enjoys having cash in your pocket, maybe you want to use them every single month towards paying off your bill, then cashback might be the plan for you. So now let's talk about the granddaddy of all American Express credit cards, the ones you guys have seen in every video on YouTube already. We're talking about the platinums, the golds, and the greens. Now, just know before we get into it that these 3 credit cards specifically are charge cards, which are a little bit different than credit cards. Now, credit cards you're already familiar with, right? The credit card gives you a credit limit, so maybe $5,000 you could spend on that credit card, and that's the limit. And you can actually carry a balance every single month, right? Maybe you can pay the minimum payment of $200 here and there and carry it over every single month. Charge cards are a little bit different. They don't operate the same as credit cards. They don't actually have a credit limit. The limit is based on you. It revolves every single day, your income, credit history, a lot of different factors, but it could be anywhere between $0 and $1 million and everything in between, right? But the main difference with charge cards is that any payment that you make on these said charge cards has to actually be paid in full at the end of that month. You cannot carry a balance from one month to the other. So just make sure you know, you put a charge on the green, gold, platinum, you better be sure that that's paid off within the next 30 days or else bad stuff happen. Bad stuff happen. But also know that American Express has come out with what's called the pay over time limit, and this essentially states that any charges you put to these charge cards over $100, those charges could actually be carried over to the following month. Kind of like how a regular credit card would work, but that's only for purchases over $100. Anything under $100 has to be paid in full by the end of the month. So just so you know that discrepancy. So before I get into number 7, just know you could always screenshot and scan the QR code on your screen now for the highest welcome offers possible on any of these credit cards we talked about today. And it would give me a little bit of a kickback. It'll give you some extra value, and I would appreciate you. And I'll just give you a hearty handshake in advance if you decide to use them. Okay, so just know that we talked about these credit cards, right? And some of them earn cash back and some of them earn points back. So for cash back, again, there's nothing else you could do with them other than just kind of paying off your bill, a couple other things, but for the most part, people just like to get that cash back in their pocket. So if you're a person like that and you don't care about travel, you don't care about using your points, etc., so just get the cashback credit cards, make some money on all the money that you're spending. But for the people that are earning membership reward points, Amex points, you want to know how to actually earn these points and then use them to the best of their ability. You've heard a bunch of people say, hey, just transferred Amex points, just got an amazing vacation to the Maldives, and I spent a fraction of a penny for them. I just used points, right? So you've heard these stories, right? But how do you actually use these American Express points? At least to the best of their ability. So let me just give you one example to show you how powerful points can actually be. So let's just take me for an example, right? So let's just say I have 100,000 membership reward points, right? But I wanted to cash them out for a statement credit. I wanted to pay off my bill. American Express typically is going to give you a rate of 0.6 cents per point, meaning 100,000 points cashed out in that fashion will only give you $600 in value. Now, we could also take my experience recently where I actually moved 100,000 Amex points and I transfer them to travel partners. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Amex has some 20 different travel partners that you can actually take your Amex points and you can actually push them over to some of the airlines or the hotels that they partnered with at a given ratio, and then you could start using their points, their mile systems to book flights and future travel for the future. I hope that makes sense. So what I personally did was I took 100,000 points, transferred them over to Air France's airlines, and I was able to book 2 one-way tickets from JFK in New York over to Milan, Italy, business class for those same amount of points for around 100,000 points. And do you want to know what the cash price would have been had I paid cash for that ticket? About $1,500 to $2,000. So yeah, I mean, would you rather have the $600 in statement credits or would you rather have the $2,000 in travel value? Well, that just depends on you and your specific life situation at this time. But I would just say this is just an example of, wow, you can actually get 3 to even sometimes 4x the amount of value that you could possibly get with those points, depending on how you redeem them. So I guess you guys kind of see the point in how points can be super valuable and why you should actually do your research and actually learn about the point systems before actually getting into American Express cards, or at least just start researching now as you're getting into them. And honestly, it's such a comprehensive topic that I'm going to make a whole separate video on how to redeem them once I become a little bit more seasoned in the whole travel game. So let me know below if you want to see a video on that specifically. So number 8 is something that's a little bit less talked about, but I think I should probably bring it up because we do have a lot of people that are watching this video that probably travel fairly often, and that's why they're looking to get into Amex cards in the first place. Now just know that American Express cards, while a lot of them do have no foreign transaction fees, some of them do, so just make sure you look up on it if it does have a fee for using your card abroad. But another main thing to kind of just keep in the forefront is that in Europe and Asia specifically, a lot of people have noted that it's very hard to find a business that actually accepts American Express, and more often than not, most people actually carry a MasterCard and a Visa with them while they're traveling to Europe and Asia. So just to know that if you have Amex credit cards and you're looking to travel to those countries, then probably bring a MasterCard and a Visa with you. So this way you're not stranded and you can't pay for things. Help, I'm stranded in Italy. And last but not least, number 9 is Amex Offers. Now, honestly, Amex Offers is kind of slept on. It's basically a whole plethora of merchants that actually partners with American Express that's going to give you cash back or points back based on using a given card for certain purchases. And you can see the entire list right here on the screen, but it's just a list of a bunch of different companies that you could buy things from that you may not even realize that, hey, oh, if I'm going to buy some sneakers or maybe I'm going to go buy some food from here, then you could actually get some added bonuses on top of the other bonuses that you would get with the card themselves. So it's good to know. This way you can earn some more money based on the money that you're spending anyway, right? So definitely check that religiously and make sure you actually add those to your card one by one. And honestly, just spam it. Just hit add on every single one of them because you never know when you'll hit one of those places at some point in your life. As a beginner, I say all this to say is you should be learning and researching just so you're a pro when you first get your first Amex credit card. Now, along with learning and researching, we have all the good stuff, right? I talked about a lot of great things about American Express today, but what about all of the bad stuff? What about the dangerous side of American Express cards? So this way you're fully informed when you make your decision on your next card.